I would say this next step is really a fusion of three thinkers. Matthew McConaughey, who's an actor, David Goggins, who's a Navy SEAL, and Jordan Peterson, who's a professor and clinical psychologist. Um, and this step is called choose your damn sacrifice. So once you've done some introspection and accepted yourself for all of who you are, you can take what you feel makes you different or special and pick a path or a way of being that aligns to that sense of self. And that alignment is very rare, but very important. Most people do something, whether it's a hobby or a profession or the person they marry, they pick a path that is only 20 or 30 or 40% aligned with who they fundamentally are. And that misalignment can cause a lot of pain and cognitive dissonance. So choosing a path that aligns to who you are is ever important. Um, Matthew McConaughey talks about the egotistical utilitarian, which is something I really like. It's this idea that wouldn't it be beautiful if by being egotistical, that is self focused, you were actually utilitarian, that is focused on others. So if the most selfish of acts were to benefit as many people as possible, and that really clicked for me because that's sort of how I want to measure success in my life and how I conceptualize how I'm living right now, which is very self-focused to harden myself to then benefit as many people as possible. I just mentioned hardening myself, and David Goggins, who's a Navy SEAL, talks about, you know, when it's raining outside and he has to go for his morning run, that he celebrates that. He actually gets excited that he has an opportunity to challenge himself, harden himself, and go through some pain, some challenge, some suffering, to make him, in fact, stronger. And I think that it's a very powerful reframe if you can view anything in your life that causes malevolence, that causes suffering, that causes setback, that causes anytime that you don't get what you want, it's actually a huge opportunity to accept it, to take it on, to challenge it, to push yourself to new limits, to grow, to teach yourself that you can climb higher mountains than you thought possible. So the higher the mountain, the harder the mountain, the more you can prove to yourself that you can take on challenges like that, which means you can take on a bigger one, which means you can take on a bigger one. So it's a complete reframe. And if you swallow that pill, you start to view moments in your life where you get punched. Mike Tyson says everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I've started to learn, this is also sort of stoic philosophy. Like I've started to really enjoy getting punched in the face because it's a chance for me to get back up and keep fighting and prove that I'm harder than I thought I was to myself and to whoever or whatever punched me in the face. So that leads to this idea of pick your sacrifice. Like life is filled with getting punched in the face. No matter who you are, for some people it's very obvious, if it's race or gender or what have you. And for others it's less obvious. For me it's depression. There are ways that life sort of tries to hold you down, or that you have setbacks, right? So we all have to deal with suffering and pain and malevolence. And um, Jordan Peterson says that you should be so lucky. We're all going to sacrifice. We're all going to do things that we don't want to, but wouldn't it be nice if you could pick your sacrifice? It's that alignment I was talking about. If instead of being sucked, Jordan Peterson talks about the potential of childhood when you can be anything. There's so many different options, so many different beautiful futures that lie before you. And as you grow older, you have to choose a path, whether it's a professional path or hobbies or certain friends or a place that you're going to live or a spouse you're going to marry. You choose, you give away potential and you turn that potential into rigidity, into focus, into a path. And for almost everyone, as I said, you get sucked onto a path that isn't in full alignment with who you are because you've never bothered to do the work to understand who you are. And you've never bothered to make the hard decisions to leave rooms that aren't in alignment and go to rooms that are in alignment. And so I think it's very important, as per Jordan Peterson, to have some governance, to pick your sacrifice, whether that's putting yourself on a career path you're really passionate about, or choosing your partner with every fiber of your being, or you get to choose. And it doesn't mean that you won't sacrifice, and it doesn't mean that you won't experience malevolence, but it does mean that you'll have chosen and that you'll have autonomy and power and governance. Um, so that's a very powerful reframe, I think, that you still will suffer. You'll still get punched in the mouth a lot, but you should be so lucky as to get punched in the mouth in a way that you feel connected to.